This first part, you will need 2 of the H6 bolts, which is the M6x60s, the 2 T-bars to the top, 2 handles, this adjuster mechanism, and the main bar. And putting this together couldn't be easier. We're going to take this on the outside, bolt through there, bolt through one of the T-pieces, through the main bar. Then we're going to do the opposite, take the other handle on this side, and put our nut on this. Then we can do the other one. Now with the nut started, I just use my spanner and my drill. Helps if I actually put the socket on there. Makes it much faster. Installing the legs is going to be the same as the top. You have to install this little pivot arm. So bracket on this side drops down, and this little L leg will go here. So go back that way. So we can install this. So we'll put a bolt through from this side again, through the middle here, out the other side. Now we're going to take this bottom support and we're going to attach this clip on here, making sure that the notch is facing this way or to the center of the, we're going to call this a V shape. And these holes need to line up with the notches that are already here. Let's snap that on. Base plate, and you're going to slot this between. That might be a little bit tricky, but you're going to put it, line up the plastic bit up with the top holes up here. And then we'll pull this right side down so that this slot here lines up with this hole on this bar here. Like that. Now you're going to take the H6 bolts and thread them through, providing that they line up, which of course they don't, so you'll have to slide that up until they do. And then slot in. And on the other side, we can just put our nut on there to secure it, and put the one on the right hand side. We're not going to tighten anything up right now. We're going to do the next bit. Bolt through, and then we'll put the rod in here. Start threading that. There we go. Line these up. Because the rod is threaded, we can put that in. And the other 2 bolts are going to connect this bar to the rest of the handle. So we'll undo our nut, get our screw, our bolt, sorry, thread it through, nut on the other side. Now we're going to assemble the impeller. There are 2 holes here. One doesn't have a thread on it, and the other one does. Got a little H3 set screw, or that's what they're calling it. Impeller goes this way up onto the gearbox. So pull it down, and there's actually a hole on the impeller that lines up with the gearbox about there. So we'll put that set screw in there. Then we can just secure that in place. Going to install the impeller. 2 bushings. They're called H10, but they're also just called bushings. Take the impeller, and the impeller is going to go in here, and this rod's going to come through here. So we will thread this rod through. That's it there, and put the bushings on. Right here, you see there's a little slot in the metal. Well, the bushing has a corresponding key. We're going to call this the key, and that's the slot, whatever the opposite of a key is in metal terms. I can't remember, but push that in. Now you can secure the impeller to the drive shaft. Just turn the drive shaft around. You'll see that there's actually some holes on the drive shaft, wherever they are. Yep, put this on the wrong way. So we are going to take this off and try again. So I'm going to pull the shaft out, and by the looks of it, this far side has to have no holes on it, like that. I don't think it actually matters. Maybe it can go on both ways, but we'll follow how it's meant to be done. And in the middle there's a hole that lines up with the bottom of the impeller, so we can Put our bolt through and our nut on, like that. So it doesn't matter which way around this drive shaft goes or this axle goes, and both wheels are identical, which is good because both wheels are installed in a different manner. So depending on which way you've got it, you're going to have a hole not at the end of the axle, and on this side you will. So let's install this wheel first. So slot the wheel on, take the H5 bolt, which is an M6 by 45, thread that through. And this is because there's only one drive wheel on this spreader. Throw the wheel on. Spreader on its side allows me to slide that cotter pin in. When installing this cotter pin, if this wheel is really loose, which mine is not that loose, I might be able to get a washer in there. There are washers that you can add to make this a little bit tighter. So I'm going to use this, and if I do need to add one, I can always add one at a later date. But for now, I think this is secure enough. You can stand the spreader up now. Whew. Make sure the name's facing forward, and then at the back here you'll have your grates for controlling how much material you're going to dispense onto the lawn. So flip this impeller up, because the impeller is going to slot right through that central hole right there. So line this up, wherever the impeller is, right there. Whew. Take the H6 bolts and drop them through from above. Time to install the sweeper. Install it with the arms up. Now it's threaded, so then put the nylock nut on. This model does come with two auger bits. You have the one I have in here, which is for general turf application if you're spreading fertilizers, things like that. Or you have this version here, which is called the spiked auger. The spiked auger is for things that will tend to clump, so you like your ice melts and things like that, because you could use your spreader for multiple uses too. It's time to connect the linkages. This linkage here has a flat end to it, so it's going to slot through. And then hold this in place, and you can turn it, and then we can connect that to the bottom piece. And this is where you use the hex nuts that were set aside from before. So we're going to thread this one on first. With the nut threaded on, we're going to slot it through the hole here, like that. I'll put this other nut on as well. The final linkage, it needs to be connected, is going to go in like this, and then it's going to rotate. Slot that in like that. So I guess this is a calibration setup situation here. So to start off tightening up all the linkages, you're going to close the mechanism until it's completely closed, I guess. So that closed. Okay, so we got that closed. Tighten this up, but first we need to make sure this arm up here is all the way forward. That's in the closed position. And we'll go down here, and wherever this sits, we can just tighten this up. So we're going to bring this nut up first, and then we'll bring this one, and then that can be tightened up. If you're looking at this Chapin spreader, you might be wondering, how can you convert your current spreader settings or whatever spreader settings are on the fertilizer bag that you're using to this model here? Well, there's a handy conversion chart in the back of the manual here that you can use to get your settings. Then we have this grate that installs at the top, kind of sifts the product that you're going to be putting in there. It's kind of handy. Then we got this cover. That's how you build the Chapin 70-pound contractor spreader. If you're still not too sure whether you should get this spreader or not, check out this video over here.